Hi, I'm Miriam Wallace. I'm a professor of English and Gender Studies at New College of Florida, and I am also one of the co-editors of the Transit series at Bucknell University Press, focused on literature, thought, and culture, 1650 to 1850, along with my colleague, Mona Narain. And I'm going to be doing this alone because I don't actually know how to share this with her. Okay, so Transits is a landmark series in long 18th century studies and the Romantic era, we think inclusively here, and we're looking for and published monographs and also edited volumes. We're looking for work that is timely, transformative, and also global in its engagement with arts, literature, culture, and history. So we're looking for work that is contributing to an ongoing conversation, but that is adding something a little bit new. Transit's books have engaged a wide variety of topics. So literature is right up there in our banner, but our work is often the work that we've published and the work that we find really exciting is often very collaborative, very interdisciplinary. Focusing on conversations across a number of fields. So we have a number of titles that engage strongly with the visual arts. We have others that engage with the environment, with politics, material culture, travel, theater and performance. There's actually a lovely lineup there. Embodiment in all kinds of ways. The natural sciences and medical humanities is an area of particular and new growing interest. Writing and book history has always been a piece of it. Sexuality and gender is quite well established. Disability and race and colonialism, we're particularly interested in moving forward with projects that engage there. Okay, so we publish books that focus on specific cultures. As you'll notice, it's a very, very strong lineup of work focusing on British and British influenced cultures, transatlantic Anglophone cultures, but there's also quite a bit of other work and work that is comparative. We're also interested, though, in work that studies the connections and intimacies you might find across multiple geographies, for Britain and America, for Britain and Europe to the Americas, but also to the Far East, what we might call the Middle or the Near East, Africa, and Oceania. Proposals should offer critical examinations of artifacts and events, modes of being, forms of knowledge, material culture, or cultural practices, or some combination. We're really excited and interested in work that makes provocative connections between post-colonial and decolonial studies, or that develops new modes of critical imagining, such as those offered by critical race scholarship, and the intersections among gender, sexuality, and disability studies. These have been areas where we've published a number of titles recently and where we'd like to see even more. Some recent titles, just to give you a sense. Yes, we still engage with the classics. We have a wonderful collection here on Robinson Crusoe after 300 years that really jumps through the ways that Crusoe gets picked up and reiterated and rethought. Just out, hot off the press, Transatlantic Women Travelers, with that lovely cover image, follows on a long line of works on travel narrative. In this case, women travelers, who are particularly interesting. And, we can all use more work on Lawrence Stern's A Sentimental Journey, a really interesting collection here that includes a lot of different kinds of work. Other recent titles, I mentioned performance and stage and theater work. The novel Stage by Marcy Frank is both engaging with narrative form and theatrical practices and thinking in some really interesting ways. Narrative Mourning, Kathleen Oliver, looks hard at the kinds of relics of death, from little memorial objects to that term for widows, the relic, that's worth thinking about. Another wonderful collection that takes a look at Crusoe and thinking about Robinson Crusoe across this time, not just time, but across languages, cultures, and media. And then, who wouldn't love to have a collection on romantic automata, these really interesting objects that push us to think hard about what's alive and what's lifelike and so forth. And then going back just a little further, other recent titles, we have Samara Cahill's Intelligent Souls, Feminist Orientalism in 18th Century English Literature. So there we're engaging with the debates about early feminism and what's really at stake in the Orientalism that often subtends Anglo-American feminist arguments about rationality, reason, intelligent souls. Jason Farr's novel Bodies. This is the disability and sexuality intersection, looking at 18th century literature with that amazing cover image that really touches on the intersections between different ways of thinking about queerness, embodiment, and queer embodiment together. Fire on the Water, Lenora Warren's really wonderful book about sailors, slaves, and insurrections, looking at early American literature, and thinking about what kinds of communities, what kinds of places were ships, and how sailors were situated in relationship to these ongoing debates. And then Jane Austen and comedy, another really useful book. So you can sort of see the kinds of things that we're looking for in terms of intellect, but I also want to highlight that the books themselves are really beautiful. The covers are lovely. We really like to think about the paratextual elements of a book, the ways that the blurb on the back, the font, the image on the book enhances what the book brings to the table and enhances what, how it engages with its audience. So we're looking for work that will contribute to these, that will take us in new directions. Dr. Narayan and I are working really well with our new board of directors. So let me just show you where we're at. Here we are. Please contact us. We are happy to talk to you at any stage, pre-proposal, take a look at a draft proposal, talk about your thinking about your work, talk about what we can do for you. And then we have a wonderful board of advisors who are really helping us to think thoughtfully about how the series is moving forward, and also how we make good matches when we seek external readers. We try to do that process also very thoughtfully. So be in touch if you have questions. We would be happy to talk to you, and I will hope to meet you or run across you or cross paths at an upcoming conference. And I know my colleague Dr. Narayan would also be delighted to talk to you. So thank you, and we'll be in touch.